Hi all, this is Once a Future Gamer, and today we're trying something new. We're going to see if we can beat a randomised Pokemon Fire Red with 3 early root strength Pokemon. So in terms of what has been randomised, boss and important trainers will have teams of 6 and they've been made 20% stronger than they would be otherwise. They all run type themes and their teams have been set to a similar strength. So Brock might no longer be a rock type trainer, but he will still focus on a specific type. All Pokemon on the team will have sensible items. The wild Pokemon themselves have been randomised so that literally anything of a similar strength could appear in the route. Basically, I'm going to catch 3 early root strength Pokemon and aim to complete the game with just those 3 Pokemon. The rules: I can't use any other Pokemon in battle once I've acquired the 3 Pokemon. I might need HM slaves, but they won't be permitted to fight. Also, I'm not using items in battle beyond Pokeballs and held items. And beyond hacking the game, no glitches or exploits, as strange as it sounds. So, the game gets underway, and it doesn't matter what I pick. The plan is that I'm going to be taking 3 Pokemon from Route 22. I could get into the fights on the way there, and I don't want to be influenced by previous experience knowing what's on the route. During the first rival fight, I picked Charmander, but we won't be using it beyond this first little mission, and my rival Squirtle is at a higher level and he creams my Fire Lizard. Ah well, this is going to be the last time that he beats me. On Route 1, there's Rattata, Tailo, Ledybart and Slugma, but we're not going here. I get some Pokeballs eventually and head off to Route 22. Okay then, this is embarrassing. I got KO'd by a Smeargle who spammed Scratch and broke out of about 7 Pokeballs and made me white out. Okay, try this again then. This time we go to Route 2. I figure it's only fair for the random nature of this challenge. The surprise is spoiled, so I'll be trying my hand here. I catch an Inkada, who I nicknamed Boogaloo. Quirky nature with the Compound Eyes ability. Nice. My next catch is a Wingull, who I nicknamed Pico, for somewhat obvious reasons. Pico has a jolly nature and the Keen Eye ability. I am spotting a theme here. And I round out my team with Slugma, who I nicknamed Flare, who has a calm nature and the Magma Armor ability. Nothing that boosts accuracy then. Okay, so that's our team for the game. I make a shot at the rival on Route 22. He has a team of 6, as well as his Squirtle, who he'll be keeping throughout. He has 2 Swinub, a Geodude, a Rhyhorn, and an Inkada of his own. Until we get to the Squirtle, it's an easy fight, as Pico tears through the first 5 with Water Gun attacks. Squirtle takes down Pico, and then Boogaloo, before Flare puts it to sleep and embers it to death. Woo! Anyone else smell turtle soup? With Boogaloo and Flare at level 13 and Pico at level 15, I take a run at Brock, but it turns out he's a Psychic type trainer in this game. He has a pair of Drowsy, a Slowpoke, a Spoink, a Curlier and a Kadabra, the last of which ultimately defeats my team. I make another attempt with Ninkada at level 15, Slugma at level 16 and Wingull at level 17. This time I start with Boogaloo again and it takes down the first Drowsy before Slowpoke comes out and tries to put Boogaloo to sleep. I switch into Pico and put Slowpoke under confusion before going on a tear through them, at least until Kadabra brings down Pico. Boogaloo comes back out, defeats the Kadabra and the Spoink. In Mount Moon, Boogaloo reaches level 20 and evolves into Ninjask. Now, I was toying with whether or not to use the Shedinja, as it does kind of link to the Pokemon I caught, but I decide against it. Ninjask is actually the Pokemon with the highest BST I could end up using, with 456 total versus Pelipper's 430 in Gen 3 and Magcargo's 410. I never truly realised how bad Magcargo actually was. At least Ninjask removes a water weakness. My team is distressingly weak to rock moves though. I've never been so happy to realise that Stealth Rock isn't in a game. Also in Mount Moon, Pico evolves into Pelipper and I'm 2/3 of the way to a full team. You know what's in at Mount Moon? A chance to get a certain item. Maybe some sort of old rock, something like that. Go on, ask. You know you want to. Judging by the trainers in the next gym, it looks like Misty is going to be a fire type trainer. Not good for Boogaloo, but positive for Pico and Flare. She has a pair of Magby, a Charmander, a Growlithe, a Houndour, and a friggin' Blaziken! A heavily underleveled one, but still. Never mind, they're no match for Pico, who water guns through the fight. I've not had bad luck so far with these gyms. I might as well go do the rival fight now. He was a ground type trainer before, plus his Squirtle. This time his Squirtle has evolved into Wartortle and he's an Ice type trainer with Snorunt, Swinub, Delibird and a pair of Spheal added to his lineup. Boogaloo makes a fine start against Delibird, spamming double team before taking down Snorunt too, before being beaten by the first Spheal. Flare takes that and the second Spheal out before being replaced by Pico to fight Wartortle. Pelipper spams wing attacks and makes turtle soup eventually before I take out the swine hub with water gun. Outside Cerulean City, I teach Dig to Boogaloo and Water Pulse to Pico. Next up, we have the rival fight aboard the SS Anne. He'll have a team of 6 again, including his starter War Turtle. He uses Kabuto, Poliwhirl, Croconaw, Quillfish and another War Turtle to round out his team. And Pico tears through the team with Water Pulse for the Kabuto and Wing Attack for the rest of them. We're quite a bit higher levelled at this point, but the level gap won't last forever as we go forward. At these levels, it isn't that much of an issue, but the stronger the trainers get, the larger the disparity will become between their usual levels and their enhanced levels of the randomizer. Someone who has a level 5 Pokemon will have something at level 6, 20% stronger, not much of a difference. Someone who normally has something at level 60 will go at level 72. That is actually a big difference. Next up is Lieutenant Surge in the gym. Normally, he's an electric type trainer. This time though, he is actually still an electric type trainer, and that's not the best type for this team to deal with. Pico is going to go down to any potent electrical attack. Boogaloo isn't going to take many hits, he's quite defensively frail, and Flare is crippled by the unhelpful fact that he's a Slugma. In combat, he uses a pair of Chinchou, a Magnemite and an Ampharos that I saw. Constant risk of paralysis is a massive issue, especially on Boogaloo and Flare. So, time to go get more levels. Flare evolves into Magcargo, which might help in the Surge fight as long as I don't let it anywhere near the Chinchou. Being 4 times weak to water is quite detrimental for its existence. I give Boogaloo a Cherry Berry too, because a Swords Dance Ninjask with Dig could be entirely helpful. This time, Boogaloo puts a Swords Dance in, handles a spark from Chinchou nicely, and then goes on a dig sweep across his entire team, including the extra Magnemite and the Pikachu that he's packing. 3 badges down, and the TM for Shockwave, which I believe that Pico can learn, so that gives me options. Next, to Celadon City for the next 2 major fights. Actually though, in Lavender Town, I stopped by to fight Rod again in Pokemon Tower. He uses a pair of Loudred, a Spinder, a Pidgeotto, a Farfetch'd and his War Turtle, the last one now at level 30. I use Boogaloo, power up with a pair of Swords Dance attacks and power through with Slash. Just an interesting thought, can you imagine how broken Ninjask would have been with Gen 1 crit mechanics? Just a thought. I go to Celadon and check out the gym. It would appear that Erica is a Dragon type trainer in this continuity. Knowing this, I go after Giovanni first. Might as well prepare properly. There's a TM I quite like and I need the cash first from the grunt in the hideout. Before facing Giovanni, I get the TM for Ice Beam and teach it to Pico. Giovanni, it transpires for this encounter, is a Steel type trainer, though whether he will be next time over is up for debate. I don't know how this works. He uses Matang, a pair of Aron, a pair of Magnemite and a Steelix in the encounter. Pico faces off against the Metang before Flare comes out to reduce them to slag. Now though, let's go after Erica. With Pico up top, she starts with Kingdra, who shrugs off Shockwave and strikes back with Twister. Ice Beam crits it and takes the Kingdra down. 2 Dragonair come out next for Claire. Sorry, I mean Erica. I was thinking of someone else there. A pair of Altaria and a Shelgon. All of them go down to Ice Beam attacks, and just like that, we got the 4th badge. Back to Pokemon Tower then. Actually, I go get the HM for Fly before or else, and I teach it to Pico. Or I would do if I didn't realise that Fly is barely stronger than Wing Attack, takes longer to unleash, and has far less PP. Screw that then. I clear out Pokemon Tower and then go after Koga in Fuchsia City. Turns out he's a rock trainer. Pico might just have this one in the bag too if we can avoid getting hit. That's the theory. Koga uses a Leap, which goes down to Ice Beam, a pair of Aerodactyl, who nearly take Pico down between them and their ancient power moves, and 3 Aron, who Boogaloo deals with using Dig, despite the last one spamming Protect. I could see Koga using Toxic Stall tactics, but here it was without the saving grace of actually using Toxic. Ah well. I also teach Pico Surf, replacing Water Pulse. Right, there's some choices ahead, Saffron or Cinnabar. I decided to go for Saffron City first and the Silph rival fight. With the exception of his level 48 Blastoise, he's a Fire type trainer this time, using Camerupt, Magby, Cyndaquil, Vulpix and Rapidash. Pico sweeps through them all with little effort, with the exception of the final Blastoise. Next is Giovanni again. This time, he's still a Seal type trainer. He uses Mawile, Skarmory, a pair of Steelix this time, Aggron, and randomly as his ace, a Magnemite. Flare sweeps through them all with Flamethrower, though I tried to switch into Boogaloo to use Dig on the Aggron and some Raw related hijinks, put paid to that strategy, meaning one of my HM slaves gets a quick cameo before being switched back out. Next is Sabrina, and she's a ground type trainer in this. She starts with Gligar, then goes into Claydol when a double Swords Dance Boogaloo tears it down. Claydol, Pupitar, Rhydon, Piloswine and Sandslash are all swiftly dispatched, thanks to Boogaloo using a combination of Slash and Dig where needed. That's the 6th badge down. Next up is Blaine himself, and he is a flying type trainer. He starts with Beautifly, and I send him Boogaloo, get 2 Swords Dancers off and knock it out with Slash, all while smirking at how easy this will be. He then escalates the situation by sending in a friggin' Articuno, who I assume is the replacement for his Arcanine. It beats Boogaloo, but Flare comes out and knocks it out with Rock Slide. He also uses 2 Noctowl, a Xatu and a Togetic. Flare comes in clutch throughout the battle and finishes it at level 60, learning Body Slam in the process. Final fight with Giovanni is next. If he's a steel type trainer again, then I already have a good idea of my tactics. The trainers in his gym seem to suggest that. Let's go beat him then. He starts with Aron, and eventually it goes down to Flamethrower. Eventually. Fortress, Metang, Caesar, Laren, and finally a level 60 Magnemite all go down the same way without him touching Flare in combat. Next up, we've got the rival fight on Route 22, and it doesn't seem like 2 minutes since I got killed by that random Smeargle I tried to catch back at the start of the game that made me go to Route 2 instead. Joke was on me, as I could have ended up with a Treecko if I'd kept searching on this route. This time, as well as his level 64 Blastoise, he's a fire-type trainer. I started with Pico to go against his Magmar and nearly one-hit it with Surf before it froze up Sunny Day. I switch out for Flare, who gets confused and takes a lot of damage before knocking it out. Pico comes back out to face Blastoise, who only spams Protect and Rain Dance. Pico knocks it out with 2 Shockwaves and a Rain-powered Surf. Next up is Growlithe, who goes down to Surf, then Magby, then another Growlithe. Both of them meet the same fate as his final Pokemon, Blaziken, who also goes down to Surf. Victory Road is actually horrific. I get taken down by trainers on here twice, and the worst bit is having to do the rock puzzles again. I hate Victory Road so much in Kanto. Anyway, let's go tackle the Elite Four and see how bad it is. First up is Lorelei, and she is a rock trainer. She begins with Omastar, who is nasty to take down. Flare manages to put it to sleep, and Pico comes out to start chipping away with Surf and Shockwave attacks. Rhydon is a one-hit with Surf. Credilli is frozen by Ice Beam on the first turn before a Wing attack and another Ice Beam floor it. Aerodactyl takes massive damage from Surf, but hits a Hyper Beam that knocks Pico out. I send Ninja Scout and use Swords Dance while Aerodactyl is recharging, eventually knocking it out with Slash. Relicanth is next, and I hit it with Dig for 2/3 of its health before it knocks Boogaloo out with Ancient Power. It does the same to Flare, who can't really hurt it, and so the first result is a loss. Oh dear. It takes about 20 attempts, during which I settle on the strategy of using Flare to put Omastar to sleep, and then trying to get Swords Dance attacks off on Boogaloo. Eventually, Boogaloo manages to take down Omastar and seriously injure Credilli, who is finished off by Flare. Flare deals serious damage to Aerodactyl before being taken down. Pico finishes Aerodactyl off, and Relicanth and Lunatone go down shortly after to give me the win. My team doesn't do well against rock types. Let's see what Bruno has to face with then. He's an ice type trainer in this reality, using 2 Sneasel, 2 Celio, a Glalie and Cloyster. Again, Boogaloo doesn't have the greatest of advantages here and goes down swiftly, leaving Pico and Flare to do all the heavy lifting, and if they do, it's not too bad in the end. Agatha though is a dark type trainer. She utilises Houndoom, 2 Mychina, Murkrow, Sharpedo and Absol. Boogaloo and Flare go down very quickly, but Pico nearly brings home the win solo until the Absol heals and then takes Pelipper down. Ah well, I guess I'll go get some more levels. I've not got quite such a level gap now, which is very rapidly turning into a problem. Rematch against Agatha, I use Pico to take down Houndoom and then set Boogaloo to tear through the rest of them with Slash and Leech Life, though it's not easy setting up Swords Dance given the Mychena have both Intimidate and Taunt. Second attempt though does go a lot better and I take the victory. Now, what type is Lance? He's ground. He uses Nidoqueen, Graveler, 2 Dugtrio, Steelix and Flygon. It takes my entire team, but we do get him. Nidoqueen takes down Flare, Pico rips through the rest of them, via the last Dugtrio, and Ninjask, might be one of the only few Mons out there capable of outspeeding Dugtrio, comes out and finishes it off with Slash. One final fight and I'm the champion. Let's do this then, Rod. He starts with Golduck, who crushes Flare easily. When Boogaloo comes out, I manage to get 2 Swords Dance attacks off, during which he lands Screech and Hydro Pump. I try Leech Life to get some health back, but Boogaloo goes down to a second Hydro Pump. Pico eventually takes down Golduck, but Wailord comes out, and despite Pico knocking it down to a 6 of its health, Pico does go down. I need to be stronger, a lot stronger. Elite 4 grind time then. There comes a point during grinding where I stop healing Flare after the Agatha fight. Given Magcargo has a 4 times weakness to both the last 2 fights, it hardly seems worth it. If I was going to outspeed something, then maybe, but as it is, Boogaloo and Pico both end up about the level 80 mark, and it's an awkward situation. Pico can take hits, but not really deal enough damage to knock the rival's champion team out easily. Boogaloo can deal the damage, especially with Swords Dance powering up, but 1 or 2 hits is going to truly mess him up. Levels, more levels, it's all I can do. Very next attempt, Pico starts against Golduck and knocks it out with 2 shockwaves, and we attack before Wailord comes in. Pico lands Shockwave, and eventually Wailord goes into rest. I switch to Boogaloo while it's asleep and power it with 2 Swords Dance attacks before taking it out with Slash. Octillery is next, it goes down to Slash. Then it's Slowbro, who goes down to 2 Leech Life attacks. Politoed goes down to Slash. Finally, Blastoise goes down to 2 Slash attacks, and that right there is the game. Well, it was an interesting challenge, something a little different to single Pokemon runs. I might do more like this if there's interest. Got to see some truly interesting sights. If you have liked what you've seen here and want to see me do more challenges in this mould, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I guess I'll see you next time. So, with that in mind, this has been Once a Future Gamer. Thanks so very much for joining me.